Just play the damn thing.
Welcome one and all to another edition of this channel's viewer comments section. Thank you so much for joining me today. However, before we get into any comments today, if you really want to support the channel, it is a really big help if you hit the subscribe button down below, as well as the alert icon so that you get notified when new content goes up, which is quite often these days. There's also various other different links to the Teespring shop and all that kind of stuff down there in the description below, should you choose to support the channel in any of those forms of fashions. Any or all of those methods definitely help out a lot. Now, let's get to this week's comments. I play in a punk band. We're recording for an album with a Tascam DP006. What would be the best software for mixing, and what would be good, affordable mics to use? Well, you know, that's, as far as software goes, I mean, there's any number of different ways that you can go. Reaper is probably going to be the most economical version as far as a mixing software, or DAW, as we call it. You know, because Reaper you can download for free, and then you got, I think it's a 60-day trial or something like that, and then after 60 days you can either choose to pay the, I think it's only like $60 or something, you know, to pay their $60 fee, or you can just keep on clicking the still evaluating button and not pay a dime for it. But it is a full-size DAW. Professional studios use it all over the place, and you know, it is a really good software to use. That said, you know, from an amateur recording standpoint, I myself did not find Reaper to be the easiest thing in the world to use. There's tons and tons of tutorials out there on YouTube. You know, they can show you just about anything that you need to know. But I did not find it to be the most intuitive DAW out there. I have been using Persona Studio One for the last several years now. I'm using version 6 or 6.5, whatever the current one is right now. Yeah, and it's been great. You know, I was using Pro Tools before that, and to be fair, I probably still would be using Pro Tools. However, you know, they wanted to, you know, they got funny and decided to quit renewing our NFRs, and you know, so they took that, you know, Avid took that away from us, which is why I essentially switched over to Studio One. You know, and found that I like Studio One as well as I did Pro Tools. So, you know, especially now that I've been using it for a while, you know, it's gotten pretty intuitive for me. You know, as for microphones, you know, there's any different number of things out there that you can use. Again, depending on, you know, on what you're recording. I mean, you know, the good old-fashioned Shure SM57 is a tried and true instrument microphone. It's good for guitars and guitar amps and you know, snare drums, and you know, even some people record vocals on it. For recording guitar amps, my favorite microphone is the Sennheiser E906. You know, also the lesser expensive E609 is also a good option, but I like the 906 better. Audix i5 I've used a lot. It's a really good microphone, and you know, boy, let's see, you know, the Audio-Technica AT2020 is a really solid condenser microphone. You know, you can buy this for like $100. I really like that microphone a lot. So hopefully that gets you started, man. Good luck. Excellent demo. I must have this. Hey Robert, I just bought a Mitchell MD300 walnut stain and cannot believe the value at GC for $130 delivered in brand new condition set up. I need your opinion though. What you think about Mitchell's, and if you've tried this beast, it makes any Ibanez S4 or 520. Bolt-ons feel cheap. Not to be confused with the SZ series, which slay. You know, I'm going to be honest with you, man, and I'm going to answer that question the same way I always answer that question, and that is, who cares what I think? You know, because as you already stated in your, you know, in your comment, you love it. You know, and that's really, truly all that should matter. For any guitar, amp, pedal, whatever it is. You know, if you enjoy it, if you like using it, if you like the, you know, the way it performs with the sound it's giving you, that's all that should matter. You know, who cares what I think? You know, and to be clear, I'm not saying that to be a, you know, to be a smart ass or anything either. I mean, you know, when I was at the store, I learned pretty early on that, you know, when I first started in the guitar business, I loved anything and everything BC Rich. If it said BC Rich on it, I was on board. You know, well, a couple of the guys that I was working with started laughing at me when I, you know, was gawking at a, you know, $400 BC Rich or something that we had just gotten in, because I'd never seen that model. And you know, and they were, you know, they started making fun of me because I was, you know, I was digging a $400 guitar. You know, and it made me feel really, really shitty. You know, and I learned later on that that was not my fault at all, and it was absolutely their fault. You know, so I learned then and there, every piece of gear is cool. Every guitar is cool, every amp is cool, every pedal is cool, whatever it may be. Everything is cool in the eye of the beholder. You know, and I'm going to be the last guy that is going to tell you to, you know, not enjoy something that you think is cool. And if you think that MD300 is cool, then it absolutely is. I have used Ernie Ball fingerboard wipes for years. I bought a large container of them from Musician's Friend years ago, and they're still going strong. Robert, you seem like the kind of guy, when you sold guitars at Guitar Center, particularly if it was someone's first guitar, you took the time to help the person get the guitar that was right for them, rather than just pushing whatever would make your commission check bigger. That is why I love your channel and trust your reviews on gear, Timothy Brosnan. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it. And, you know, it was kind of a, you know, it wasn't an unwritten rule or anything, but it just, you know, karma seems to work out this way. You know, you take care of the customer, get them exactly what they need, you know, and the paychecks will come. You know, the commissions will come. All that stuff. You know, you take care of the customer first, and all the other, you know, the money will make itself right. You know, the money does not need my help or my greediness to, you know, to increase those paychecks. You know, because if you get the customer taken care of and they have a great experience with you specifically, that's going to result in more customers. More customers equals more money. You know, especially more happy customers, more satisfied customers. You know, customers that feel like they were genuinely cared for and taken care of properly. And that's not just for the guitar business, that's any industry. Robert, just a comment on the Marshall Lead 15, referenced in the conversation during the live super chat. It most definitely is take on the JCM 900 and is modeled after it. If you look up in the Google Reverb or anything about it, you can definitely get the information. I only bring this up because I love your channel and I value your opinion on the JCM 900. Consider you own one, but I think you may be mistaken on the Lead 15 series, and the Lead 12 series was a take on the JCM 800, but the Lead 15 was the 900. They're pretty rare and good condition. I was lucky enough to get one. Respectfully, have a good day. Look forward to the next video. Yep, you are absolutely correct. I got the Lead 12 and the Lead 15 mixed up on the live stream last week. You know, I absolutely had the Lead 12 in mind, and you were talking about the Lead 15. So you are absolutely correct. The Lead 12 is the solid state, you know, essentially a solid state take on the JCM 800. The Lead 15 is a take on the solid state take on the JCM 900. To clarify, you know, opinions are like assumptions. Everybody has one. Even though I agree with you on some of your comments, for the most part, you're full of shit. Also, it's Chinook, Kansas, pronounced just like it's spelled. Doesn't take a rocket scientist. So just where do you get off thinking you're an authority on amps? Like I already said, you're full of it. Oh, man, you CCR fanboys. Oh, boy. You know, somebody else that's all butthurt over my opinion on the custom tuck and roll amps. Look, you know, please go back through all of my videos. Please tell me which one I ever said that I consider myself an authority on anything. When have I ever claimed to be anything other than a guy with an opinion? But I'm sorry you got butthurt by my opinion about your custom tuck and roll. Just kidding, no I'm not. John Fogerty wasn't known for his guitar tone. Green River, Fortunate Son, Bad Moon Rising, heard it through the grapevine. Oh yeah, what horrible guitar tone. What were millions of us kids thinking in the 70s trying to sound like that? You may be the exception to this rule, but millions of kids were not flocking to guitar stores to try to sound like John Fogerty in the 70s or any other era. Certainly not like they were, oh, I don't know, Eddie Van Halen, Zakk Wylde, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Jimi Hendrix. John Fogerty is not one of those guys. I've never once said John Fogerty is a bad guitar player. I happen to think he's a great guitar player. But the truth is, his guitar tone and his guitar playing are very, very unoriginal and are very, very easy to nail and very easily duplicated. I know you CCR fanboys think that John Fogerty is some guitar deity. But, you know, those of us who just, respect CCR for what they are, and, you know, they're good musicians, okay, great, whatever, that don't have great big giant boners over John Fogerty, know that he's just John Fogerty. I'd be willing to bet even John Fogerty would tell you that he's just John Fogerty. I think sound demos would have been good for this video. Yes, it would have. However, my analytics show that you guys don't, have the patience of a gnat to sit through most of my videos, and anything that goes over about 7 or 8 minutes, hell, even if it's right at 7 or 8 minutes, or even a little less, you guys very rarely sit through the whole thing. You guys have enough patience to sit through about the first third, maybe half if I'm lucky, and then you click off of it. So, adding in sound samples of all of the greatest metal distortion pedals I was talking about in a video a couple weeks ago would have extended that video way out. You guys would have lost interest way quick. It just doesn't make sense for me to go into that much detail. Robert, do you know of any good way to remove small scratches from the finish on a guitar? Is repainting, refinishing the only real option for this? Really the only real option that I know of. I mean, there's going to be some people out there that are going to tell you, use, this, some, car buff, scratch buff or outer compound, something or other, and maybe it'll work. I don't know. But last I checked, cars were not made of wood and they were not finished in polyurethane or nitrocellulose finish. So, I don't know. I mean, I cannot comfortably recommend any of that stuff, as a real solution, because I don't know what it's going to do to your guitar, or any guitar. I'm sure the comments section is going to get loaded up with people that are going to tell you, oh yeah, it's fine, I've done it millions of times, whatever. Okay, great, take their recommendation, but not mine. Mine, the only thing I know to do with it, the only thing I know how to get those scratches out is refinish it. That's the only real way that I know to do it. But keep in mind, if you do that, depending on the guitar in question, if you refinish it, you're probably going to stand the chance of devaluing it. And by refinishing it, by the way, I'm not talking about hitting it with a rattle can of spray paint. That's not refinishing a guitar. Heritage for the win. Oh man, I still need to do the follow-up video on this, but my God, in regards to the video that I posted a couple weeks ago about has Gibson actually improved their quality. The comment section just got loaded up with so much stuff that is off topic, which kind of proved my point that it's so much of the hate towards Gibson I think is placebo effect. And so many people just couldn't answer the fucking question, which is, has Gibson, actually improved their quality? Instead it got, they went off on some tangent, oh, they're overpriced, or, oh, I can get the same design from this manufacturer for this much money, or, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And on and on and on. I mean, there were so many people that did that, and none of those were even the topic at hand. Given what a big Kiss fan you are, I was surprised Bob Kulick didn't make the cut. Thanks for the midday laugh. I didn't include Bob Kulick. He was a great guitar player, by the way, but he was never really a member. He was never really a member of Kiss. He produced a couple of records, and and he did play a little bit, as like a fill-in. Kind of like a silent guitar player on some of their stuff, particularly early on. But it was he was never really a member. He was never really a member of Kiss. His brother Bruce was, of course. Bruce may have been the greatest guitar player the Kiss ever had. But I don't think Bob was ever officially listed as as an official member of the band. So I guess that's why I didn't mention him. And number two, just to be honest with you, that was one I totally didn't even think of anyway. I made a joke on another video, but I tell you what, man, the slightest sign of a bald spot and I'm straight up getting rid of the whole thing. No point keeping it. It looked much cooler. Not a thing wrong with being bald. Pretty much how this one started. Devin Townsend. That's a good one. That is an excellent, that may be the best bald guitar player on the planet outside of Satriani. I can't believe I forgot about Devin Townsend. Devin Townsend absolutely should have been on that list. He's a monster guitar player. Monster guitar player. Frank Gambale's been bald for roughly half his career now. Important to note because I think most perks would agree he looks way better than he did when he had hair. Frank Gambale's another monster guitar player that I totally forgot all about. That's honestly that's kind of why I asked you guys to tell me what other bald guitar players are out there that I didn't forget about. I came up with 6 or 7 or whatever it was, but I knew there were several that I was leaving out, and there's 3. Bob Kulick and Devin Townsend and Frank Gambale all absolutely should have been on that list. Who knows, maybe I'll do a follow-up video on that one of these days. That's it for this week's comments. Thank you so much for those of you that took the time to comment. You know, I may not have replied to it, but I promise you I did read every single one of them. Or if I haven't read it yet, I promise you I'm working on it. I'll get to it. Meanwhile, don't forget to drop your comment down there below in the comments section of this video or any of the other videos on my channel. And keep your fingers crossed. Maybe yours will show up on one of these here viewer comment videos here in the future. Adios.